All right, you want to know a quick and easy way to make sure that your valve job is good? All right, we're just going to take this was like a dollar bill isopropyl alcohol, and we're just going to pour a little bit in this cylinder. We're just going to fill it up and see if we get any leaks. It's about that simple. I know I've seen guys blow air, do whatever, but if we're going to have a problem, it's going to leak out. And we're in the dry, okay? So you want to know how you get that back out, just do whatever. So if you don't want to waste a bunch of alcohol, you just take an old syringe and you suck it up and you move to the next one. It's a little time consuming, but doing it with alcohol is a hell of a lot cheaper than, doing it with gas. So I'm just going to continue this and check all these, but that's how you can just easily check. You just use alcohol because, alcohol will evaporate on its own. And so you can use gasoline. You can use whatever you want, but I'm just going to save myself the money because I know this will evaporate. The other reason I like using alcohol to clean or to leak test heads is because it's also cleans great. You would think that these heads, after everything I've done, were clean. Nope. There's still goo and junk and everything coming out of these, but now they're ready to go on the truck, on the engine. So let's start stabbing these heads. That's what I want to show you. This is how I've been cleaning all these parts. This is just a 25-cent Dollar General pan. There's two of them, just in case one has a leak. And this works great for rocker arms, nuts and bolts. These are the heads bolts are soaking. This is lacquer thinner, or you can use paint thinner, or you can use acetone, whatever you want to. But just a simple bath will take all the old grit off. It'll dissolve it all. Did the same thing with the push rods. Push rods love this. So 25 cents twice. And I think the lacquer thinner was $8. Best cleaner in the world. Try it. Okay, we're about to put the heads on. Now, what I do when I put heads on or I take them off is I leave one center bolt in the head just to keep it in place. Okay, now we're going to clean all of these, but I want to talk about these right here. Okay, so this is, you need to clean all of them with a wire brush. They come with junk on them, and there's two areas I want you to pay most attention to. That's under the head of that bolt, to make sure there's no debris, and on the threads, because we're going to use thread sealer because you're going through a water passage. But these need to be clean, and they need to be clean compared to, like, say this. See how nasty and grody and how there's so much junk up underneath in there? They need to be cleaned, all of them. I'm going to wire brush all of these, but we're going to put these heads on, and I'm going to use a one center bolt to hold them in place while I get everything else set. Okay, and then we'll pull this back out once we get some more bolts in. I'll put some thread sealer on there, and we'll put some stuff underneath the heads to torque them with. But the most important, you need to clean all the old debris off of these threads and underneath the head. Okay, so the way a small block Chevy head is set up is it's got 7 bolts in the center, which are the longer ones, and 2 on each corner, which are shorter, and then it has 8 on the bottom ridge of the head underneath the exhaust, where the exhaust hangs. So they're all cleaned up, and like I said, they've all the threads have been completely cleaned out of all the old debris, and underneath the heads have been buffed and deburred and cleaned so that we get a good torque reading on these heads. Now, I know you guys are going to scream about this, that 400 horsepower, 350, 400 horsepower possible from this engine if it doesn't go bang. Why would you not buy studs, ARP, blah, 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 blah? Listen, GM on the 350, 375 horse Corvette, Camaro, Chevelle motors, the big blocks, they didn't use anything special. They used what they had on the shelf, and they lasted for decades, okay? So there's no reason for me to spend the money for an ARP stud kit if I'm not going over, say, 500, 550 horsepower with some serious cylinder pressure, okay? Stock OEM head bolts will work just fine in an application like this. There's no reason. Now, if we ever go 3, 4, 500 horsepower kits, things like that, supercharged, any kind of forced induction, any kind of nitrous kit, yeah, we're probably going to go studs, and we're probably going to go as big and as beefy as we can, as strong as we can, because there's going to be so much cylinder pressure for each bang of that cylinder. But for this, for naturally aspirated, there's no reason to spend the money for ARP stuff. There's just no reason to do it. Okay, so the cylinder heads are on, and there is no wrong way. There's no right or left side. They all go on the same. But you just make sure that these corners and these corners all line up with your bolt holes, okay? Just make sure everything is right. And see, this is just so here and here, you want to make sure they're on the studs. They're centered in the holes. You take your finger and feel around. Everything looks like it's about right. And the reason I like these is they're very forgiving. They're sticky on both sides, and they're a little bit thicker than normal. The blue stripes are, which is, we did the home decking on this. And so because of the stickiness and the thickness, it'll help seal them up better, even if it's just a little bit off. All right, like I said, stabbing these heads that's the easy part. And I'm going to have my one bolt right here, dead center, because I'm going to put it in that bolt hole right there, just to hold the head just in place, just to make sure there isn't a problem. Do like this, and you're just sticking it on the dowel, just like that, okay? And then I'm going to take this bolt, and I'm going to get threaded in the threads. Okay, and the reason I put this on here, this one on here, and it's basically just to hold it in place. Okay, so because I had a friend drop one on his foot one time, and it was not pretty, all right? But it's on the dowel pins, and she's already pretty tight on the block. You just grab a exhaust port and the intake port, and you just kind of find your dowel pins. There we go. Then we're going to take one bolt, dead center, thread it in for safety. Yep, that's pretty dry, but it's done. But these really did turn out really nice. Okay, and how we're going to do this is, okay, now remember, there are 7 long ones and 2 short ones on the end. So we're just going to take a little bit of thread sealer. All right. And since we already got the goop on the spot, we're just going to work this in. And we're just going to do this on all the bolts. And you just got to put just a little bit. This will seal it up. It's just like going through a water pump. And you just get it started, because we're doing this because we're going through a water jacket. So anytime you go through a water jacket, you want to use some kind of sealer. And it's just always a good idea just to do that. All right, you just do the same thing on the bottom 4. And I usually go a little bit heavy on the bottom 4 because that's where the most of the water is sitting. It's towards the bottom end of the cylinder, just because of gravity. So we'll give it not a lot more, just a little extra on the bottom 8. Alright, and I'm just going hand tight right now. I'm not going any kind of squish on it. I'm just putting them in hand tight and just double checking, just getting them cinched down, because after this, we're going to go with torque wrench. Okay, on a standard small block Chevy head, it's 40 pounds to the first hit, 60 to 70 pounds in the second hit, okay? So, and the way it works is you work from the center bolt and you work circularly out, all right? So, center bolt first, 40 pounds. And, all right, and the thing about torquing is always pull. Don't ever push. Think about it. Your chest muscle and your back muscle, which one's bigger? Your back muscle. So pulling, you're always going to be stronger pulling than pushing. So first hit's 40, and we're just going to go round robin. All right, so one down here. We're working from the inside out. All right. And then we go here. Like I said, we're just working from the inside out. Back on the bottom to here. All right, to here. 40 pounds ain't hard. To here, to here, to here, to the last one on the outside edge. See how loose that got? Torquing them down. All right, 40. Last one on the outside here, 40. Last one here, 40. Last one here, 40. All right. Then once you've done that, you can go back through here and just double check. 40. Just make sure you haven't missed one. You can go all the way across. Oh, and you see, I'm using the extension. I've had this extension forever, but I don't suggest a long extension. I suggest the shorter the better, because longer extensions tend to twist. Even the good old ones tend to twist just a little bit. So if you want as good a reading as you can, as best reading you can would be here, but there isn't room to use it straight here. So you're going to have to use a little bit of extension. So, all right. So that's 40 pounds. So we're going to go up one more. There's 50. And up one more. There's 60. And if you want to split the difference, there's 65. Lock it in. So I've always just, this kind of head, you can just go 65 pounds. You see how much that moved? That was about a quarter of a turn. That's that head gasket compressing and just putting a squish to it. All right. And then, like I said, we're just going from the center out. Yeah. In a circular motion. All right, I gotta move you a little bit. Get out of the way. All right. All right. All right. And you have just now successfully torqued a set of cylinder heads to 65 foot-pounds, which is what the book says, 60 to 70, and I always have just split it, never had a problem. So, and if, like I said, if you want to go back through, just double check, go through, double check your work, make sure she all clicks, make sure you haven't missed one, but that's how you do it. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Everything's got sealant going through the water jacket. Everything is torqued. Okay, I wanted to show you something here. All right, now, you never put your torque wrench up under load. It's zeroed out to 0 pounds. That 10, 20, 30, 40, and so this is zeroed. This is ready to put back in the case. You don't ever leave your torque wrench set. Here ends the lesson. Put lifters in, push rods, rocker arms, set valve lash, just all kinds of good fun stuff now. And We get to put the priming tool on it, and we got to block this, but we get to put the priming tool on it and start running some oil through this thing and some Marble Mystery Oil and just final cleaning, final everything. Don't have intake for it yet, but I'm looking.